Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Battle Brothers Season 3. As today we face our mortality head-on, we're going to do it. We're going to take on the Ancient Legion, and hope that in doing so, we don't simply end up joining its ranks. But, you know, who knows? Maybe the real skeletons were the friends we made along the way. That's it. You'll note we've updated our front line. We've switched off to weapons a bit more suitable for our expected foes. And then as for bowmen, you know, I've given it some thought, and I think we are going to go ahead and just bite the bullet on the whole overwhelm, fearsome combo. It's kind of what I set out to do in the first place. I've just been waffling on it a bit since then. But we are at the point where we need to start locking our builds down, so yeah, we'll grab Overwhelm, we'll make plans for Fearsome, and honestly, we'll probably end up giving those to pretty much everyone in the party, barring perhaps the occasional Battle Forged. Though that does mean we are going to need to start really cranking up our initiative scores, which honestly we should have been doing in the first place, because generally speaking, to really keep Dodge viable, you want to have like a 20 or 30 point margin between your fatigue and initiative score anyway, which some of our characters do have, but then others very much do not. Obviously not a quick fix, but something to keep in mind with level ups moving forward. Also, all the more reason to go hunt down more hyena. Those new hyena mods are like plus 15 to initiative, which is pretty huge. Anyway, let's get out to the crumbled fortifications. Bit of a roundabout trek, but at least it's not over a mountain. This is taking us up towards this big unexplored territory. Maybe we'll stick around for a bit after. Though we do not have enough supplies for an extended excursion. You venture into the ruins with Annie at your side. The Elder Stone is easy enough to find, if not a little too easy. But something else catches your attention altogether. There are pots strewn all across the stone floor. Each piece of pottery is a reservoir for spears, and shields hang against the walls on hooks that seem far too ancient and rusted to hold up a cobweb, much less a piece of metal. Suddenly, Annie grabs your arm. "Sir, trouble." They point down the halls and you see a man standing there, his movements janky and quick, as though he were breaking in his suit of armor. Suddenly, his head snaps up and stares at you. Despite the fact he's standing so far away, his voice carries, as though he were speaking right next to you. "The false king dare trespass here? The Empire will rise again. But first, you must die." These are fighting words, no doubt, and you grab the sellsword and make a quick escape. You don't get far outside before the mercenaries take up arms without your ordering so. Following behind you is a formation of soldiers in armor you've never seen before. They step forward in a formation like a turtle's shell, clasped together with their shields held up to provide protection for the whole unit. Based on the fellow in the ruins, you've no doubt that they have come to kill you and the rest of the company. Oh, please tell me we've got auxiliary. Well, shit. To those who are about to die, etc., etc. As the undead phalanx approaches, the raiders hastily cobble together a plan on how to best deal with it. A few hushed words are exchanged, and then Arrow darts off to one side into the shadows, bow at the ready, prepared to harass and distract the pikemen from afar. The rest of the raiders move up warily, just outside the perceived reach of these sepulchral centurions. The general idea here being that we're going to try to lure them into base-to-base contact, force a hole in their line, and then push through to kill their pikemen, whilst Arrow lays down consistent, overwhelming fire to reduce the pikemen's chances of hitting. They're the big threat here. Those guys are lethal. The shieldmen, although also somewhat dangerous, are mostly just there to slow us down. Though I do notice that all 4 of them also have fully intact swords. That's... Oh. Okay, well, that does make things a little easier on us, I guess. Thanks. Perhaps overeager after centuries of idleness, the ancient pikemen rush forward past the shield line. The raiders are quick to meet them with a clash of iron on moldering bronze. And Arrow begins laying down fire. Eerie hesitates. Shield raised and ready, but hesitant to embrace what may be a certain death position. But he draws in a deep breath and takes it anyway, for such is the lot of a raider. I'm sure he'll be fine. And bit by bit, the rest of the raiders continue to whittle away at the undead pikemen on their 4. Cetrus lands the first truly telling blow, shattering a pikeman's sternum. Armor peeled away like a moldering lobster shell, brittle bones and leathery tendons scattering like so much dust. And then, moving as one, the Ancient Legion responds in kind. Bronze blades bite deep in the raiders' shields, but miraculously, the raiders themselves are largely unscathed. Bowman pushes up through the darkness, rounding a ruined archway. And the rest of the raiders continue their desperate assault. Drakiith looks past the moldering shield line to the precariously teetering pikemen beyond. A fierce kick, and the undead shieldman stumbles backward. Rev steps up, tines of his warfork finding their way into the gaping chest cavity of a teetering pikeman. A rest of his wrist and its spine is severed. Bones and bronze tumble to an untidy heap. Eerie hacks away at a coffin-lid shield, whilst Annie simply strikes around it. On the south, Random smashes down a second pikeman, then refocuses on the last. The initial shock of the skeletal centurion's appearance fading, the raiders take a more methodical approach, peeling away armor plating, hacking at the brittle bones within. A few blows are taken in turn, but none yet pierce their well-maintained chain. Arrow continues laying down fire, his attacks a mere nuisance, and yet still fitting distraction. Their foes finding it difficult to focus on more than one target at a time. A strike of his fork, and Rassel scatters the last of the putrid pikemen. The rest of the raiders surge forward, axes tearing into moldering shields, flails whipping around their bronze-clad edges. Their foes fight on, fearless in death. Grooves and gashes delivered, but no telling blows. A hurled axe from Valin splits a second shield. Its bearer stumbles, thrown off balance by the sudden shift in weight. Another opening the raiders gleefully exploit. Finally, Drakiith tears one of the armored figures down, then turns and fells another. "Feh," he cries. "Meet the armor, they're not but dust and bones." "The fate of all men," Eerie utters at his side. "Time makes skeletons of us all." Yeah, well, all the more reason to enjoy life while it lasts. Any retorts? We only get the one. An intriguing hypothesis, Eerie intones, if unproven. The myriad of undead we have encountered would certainly seem to imply some manner of life after death, even if only artificially induced. Would you really call this thing living? Cetrus grunts, shield raised, armor tattered. In a binary sense, yes. The creature is still animate, physically capable, even if mentally impaired. Then again, who's to say? Perhaps we should capture one of these things, preserve it for future study. Yeah, or perhaps not. Valin growls from the back line, the final shield splintering neath a hurled barrage. Oh, gosh. I failed to... Oh, dear. Eerie's impertinent and intellectual tone takes a sudden turn, blood gushing from the ragged wound carved in his right side. Yes, perhaps too dangerous. Agreed, Beast Slayer. Fell this thing, please. With haste. Cetrus grunts and nods, a flash of his axe, and the final foe falls. Whew, my goodness. Wow, that was actually going really well right up until that last round. Wild, too. I think Eerie's actually got one of our higher melee defense scores. Just a fluke of the RNG. But hey, no one actually died. Mission complete. We got some halfway decent rewards. Oh, plus our new draught. Right, hold on. Potion of the Sleepless. By drinking this, even the feeblest sellsword will gain a shield arm that rivals even that of the ceaseless dead. Almost guaranteed to not turn them undead either. Oh, well, good to know. Though, you know what? Oh, hold on. You take a look at the Elder Stone and at the men who attacked you over it. Or at least you'd think they attacked you over it. The enemy lieutenant seemed to have said something, but you can't remember what it was. Ah well, time to return to Meinrad the Elder and get paid. Yeah, that's probably fine. Nothing to worry about there. And as I was about to say, given his own mid-battle observations of our undead foes... Actually, let's get a quick gander at his level up first. Okay, yeah. Although definitely not our highest melee defense. Eerie is at least halfway decent for a starter. So I think we are going to go ahead and turn him into a dedicated shieldman. Level 6 is about the point where you want to start considering specialized roles anyway, if not sooner. So I guess that makes our choice of perk easy. We'll go for Shield Expert. And we'll toss him that new pot, which hopefully won't turn him undead, but, you know, even if it did, at least that would give him a subject to study. As for Rev, much more straightforward. He's our backup bannerman, so he's just following Rook's lead. And stat-wise, maxed his melee roll, but flubbed his defense roll. Which I suppose is fine. That gives us a chance to go ahead and start shoring up his initiative. And then we've got Wrestle. Level 5, so we'll grab Recover. And then his rolls. Oof. I mean, he didn't flub the checks, he didn't max them either, but more notably, even with those +2s, I'm now realizing his stats are looking pretty subpar for someone just hitting level 5. But, you know, as always, we'll just roll with it. We'll toss him on the front line, hope for the best. That certainly worked out for most of us thus far. Minus Book Thief, I suppose, but he's technically still with us. We'll go ahead and toss him that Kite Shield. That should help offset the lower defense. Oh, shoot, no, that's Trip. Hold on. And let me just shuffle around some weapons here real quick, try to even out our fatigue scores. Level 7's likely to be the big make or break point for most of our guys. That's when they pick up Nimble, and probably when we'll decide whether or not they keep the shield. Oh, also, I just realized. We just gave Revenant Polearm Mastery, but his current weapon, the Warfork, does not actually qualify as a polearm. It's a glorified spear. So you know what? Let's go ahead and swap in that Ancient Pike. And you know, Eerie aside, since we're still in halfway decent shape, let's push our luck a little. We've got enough, I think, to stick around out here for an extra day. We'll just do a quick sort of curve here. See if anything pops up. Like that. Greybeard's Crypt. Undead, no scouting report. Yeah, that's not an ideal target. Stone Fist Keep. That could be just about anything. Though given proximity, probably also undead. Yeah, again, you know, I just don't want to go in blind. It's too risky. Come on, give me something Give me something we can actually reasonably tackle here. Wow, really hope this isn't a bust. I mean, I guess if we don't find anything else, I'll double back and try our luck with one of those undead camps, but I'd really rather not. You find Eerie crouching over a piece of log. He's got a trio of beetles laid out. One has a needle pinning it to the wood, its little legs pedaling haplessly in the air. Another is nothing but a bodied husk, its legs removed and set beside it. The last is in a small tin of water with a stone weighing it down. Eerie shakes his head. The duress these creatures can undergo is quite impressive. Physical damage does not allude to destruction as it does with us. Take these three, for example. Pierced, dismembered, and drowning. Yet they all live. The efficiency is something else, wouldn't you agree? Sure. You ask him where he even got those beetles. He shrugs. They crawl all over us when we're sleeping. I just happen to stay up to catch them in the act. This underwater one, for example, I caught peeking at your ear opening. You tell him to continue his research and to capture as many beetles as he can. Also, you remind yourself to start sleeping with a helmet on, and that anatomists should not be trusted with too much downtime. Get well soon, bud. For all our sake. Hey, okay, here we go. Not quite what I was hoping for, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. The raiders spy a low, dark village half concealed between two rolling hills. Goblins, Arrow grunts, squinting into the distance. You think it's the same group that attacked us on Wolfback? Trip asks. Arrow shrugs, already stringing his bow. Does it matter? Trip sighs and draws his sword. No, suppose it don't. And the raiders begin their advance. Initially caught off guard, the goblins are quick to react, half their number hanging back, the rest boiling forward. The first to clear the campfire catches an arrow in the arm, pinwheeled about, a second shot sinking into its back, and dropping it to the ground. The raiders push forward, quickly clearing the camp. A thrust of Rook's spear, a goblin's ear hangs in tatters. A hurled axe, the goblin gurgles as its guts spill to the ground. And Rassel puts it out of its misery. A swift swing of his club, and the second goblin falls. The rest of the raiders push up, shields at the ready, prepared to catch a hail of poisoned arrows. Though Verlin, finding his path unobstructed, breaks into a full-on sprint, charging towards the bowline. With Random hot on his heels, though lagging ever so slightly behind. Immune to poison he may be, but he's still slightly averse to being riddled with arrows. Nonplussed by the reckless charge, the goblin archers fall back, consolidating their position. Arrows arc overhead, but none find their mark. Drakiith grimly guts another goblin guard. The raiders hold for a moment. But a hurled axe, and the third guard falls. Their path unfettered. The raiders charge. The goblin ambushers toss down their bows, drawing strange, curved, cruel blades. A flurry of blows. Some slipping past defenses, but unable to pierce chain. The raiders return the favor. Bowman takes careful aim. An artfully lobbed shot. A goblin howls as its foot is literally pinned to the ground. Unable to dodge, the pinned goblin is easy prey. An axe sinks deep into its sundered chest. And the rest of the raiders grimly go about their work. The crack of fingers, the squelch of crushed flesh, the pop of a ruptured eyeball. One after another, the goblins all suffer a gruesome end. And look at that, nice easy win. With a bag of salt as our main prize, though, that notched blade, definite possibilities there. Throwing net's a nice bonus too. But yeah, although the damage is a mite bit lower than I'd like, the notched blade is interesting in that it's a cross between a sword and a dagger. Its normal attack gains the sword accuracy bonus, but it can also be used to make armor-ignoring piercing attacks, so I think that's a pretty good fit for Trip. Since I am still thinking dagger duelist with him. Though he's obviously still got a ways to go before that's really viable. But we're getting there. Also frees up a hand-me-down, so let me just shuffle things around here real quick. Then we'll take care of Cetrus's level up. All right, bud. Let's see what you got. Hey, okay. Off to a strong start. We'll obviously take the max rolls in melee and melee defense. And then, I guess, initiative. He is in dire need of morale, but, you know, we're not going to burn a pick on a 2. That aside, he's just hitting level 3, which means dodge. So that initiative is actually pulling double duty. And good to go. All right, let's head back. There is some temptation to go after those undead camps, but I mean, that just feels like a bad idea. We took out one camp. My bloodlust is sated. Though I do see some tracks in yonder mountain. Might see if we can follow up on that once we're headed east again. You find Meinrad the Elder sitting in the town square, his arms up to the skies, his eyes closed, his mouth murmuring prayers. The townsfolk are all around him, kneeling and doing the same. You pick up a rock and hurl it at a weather vane, the clank and rustic spin drawing everyone's attention. You hold the relic up so all can see. Meinrad the Elder jumps to his feet and takes the Elder Stone. The people roar with delight, speaking of good things to come. Your payment is handed to you, which truly is what you would consider a good thing. And let's get Eerie... Oh, wait, is he already patched up? Wow, that was quick. Behold the miracles of alchemy, I suppose. Either that, or he died in his sleep and came back undead, but either way, let's get you slotted back in. Which does leave us with a glut of frontliners, but let's try something fun here. We'll tuck Trip way out to one side. See if we can have him do some roundabout flanking runs. And sadly, despite having high spirits, which is better prices across the board, yeah, there's just not really much up for grabs here. We'll take the nets, we'll take some ammo. That's honestly pretty much it. They didn't even restock on tools. And no sense in selling our stuff here. We'll just push on. Now, our original plan was to head back towards Thunberg. But that was when we were going to have a parcel quest deliberately taking us there, though. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that anyway. We'll go roundabout, take the Whispering Hills, see if we can maybe hit another target of opportunity. A scattering of Wiedergangers. Not the most exciting fight, but you know, you gotta take your XP where you can get it. Also, there is always the very slim chance of a named item, or at least some decent loot. Yeah, you know what, let's go for it. I'll try to make this quick. We'll go maximum cleavage. Wending their way towards Thunberg, the raiders spy a decrepit farmstead, abandoned but not uninhabited. Strange, shambling figures, a familiar sight by now, stumble about the fields, lacking any real direction or purpose. Seems like more and more of these things are popping up by the day, Rassel says, grip shifting on his newly assigned shield. Then we'll just keep putting them down, Bowman retorts, arrow knocked and ready to let fly. In the background, Eerie shuffles mutely, the slightest hint of unease gleaming in his eye. Oh, weird. Is that like an actual ravine? What's going on over there? Might just be lower elevation that we can't see from where we are. Really does kind of give the impression, though, that we're standing on the edge of the abyss. So, you know, try not to stare. As for these guys, not really seeing much of note. Half of them aren't even armed. The Scaramax there towards center. I think that's about the only real notable threat. Beelining for Eerie, I notice. The shambling horde plods mindlessly towards the raiders' line. The raiders could not prevent them from rising, but with cleavers gripped grimly in hand, they can at least provide the next best thing. Rook lunges forward, impaling an undead swordsman and pinning him in place. Two deft swings, and Drakiith sends a farmer's head flying. Eerie and Rev quickly tear down the cleaver-wielding Wiederganger. Rassel lops the head off the swordsman. And another falls to Verlin's blade. Though to be fair, it was tripped up first. Arrow fells a zombie farmer. But 3 more yet remain, plus a militiaman on the north. Another sweep of Drakiith's blade. Another head falls. The fight is all but over. The undead farmers never stood a chance. The last few fall. One to Random's flail. Another to Rook's pike. And finally, only the raiders remain. The Wiedergangers have been felled, but for how long? The raiders quickly roll the bodies, fetching what meager valuables they still hold, then set corpse and cottage alight. They can but hope that it will be enough. Nicely done, raiders. Not the most exciting fight, but, I'll take the easy loot. Plus the 2 level ups to boot. Let's see what we got. Oh, Trip, my man. That's what we want to see. He's ahead of schedule, too. I mean, a bit lacking on melee, but that melee defense is lovely. Yeah, I think he's well on his way to becoming a proper dagger duelist. We'll have to figure which perks to prioritize. Dagger mastery, obviously. Duelist, nimble. Though for now, definitely recover. That'll be important for once he's puncturing people left and right. Or executing, if we can get our hands on one of those southern blades. I've never actually gotten to use one. The, Katal. And then as for Annie... Okay, I mean... We'll take the max melee, obviously. We'll take the 2 in defense. Which actually doesn't put them far behind Eerie. If they max their roll at level 7... they'll just be 1 point shy of that 20-point target. I gotta say, though, I'm not really sure what to do with them long term. I didn't really expect them to live this long. Flail spec, I suppose? I mean, I guess the big game changer will be whether they hit that 19-point mark at level 7 once they pick up Nimble. So yeah, you know what? We'll sit on that perk point for now. We'll hold it until we see where they go at 7. I mean, either way, I do think Annie is apt to get flail spec that's just kind of become their thing. But the exact flavor of flail spec, that is still yet to be determined. Yeah, we really got to hit some nomad camps while we're down here. See if we can get ourselves a nice cat o' nine tails. Those new multi-headed flails. Haven't really gotten to play with those much either. I have heard mixed reviews, but they look like they're a lot of fun. Alright folks, well, we are 3 fights deep and we're settling in for inventory management, so this does feel like a good place to call it. Aside from that opening fight with the Ancient Legionaries, pretty stress-free episode for once. Though, you know, we are just 10 days out from the big day 40 difficulty bump, so I'm sure that won't last. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping, maybe scout the local recruits. We could use a Houndmaster. And we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.